Here we are again, folks. Another fantastic news you can act on in real time with none other than the amazing Brigitte Gabriel. Hello, Brigitte.
Hello, Brent, and thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Just as we watch our debt pile up in the trillions of dollars while our economy is in free fall, we just learned that our government has sent $1.3 billion of our hard-earned tax dollars to China and Russia. You say, what? Did I hear that right? Yes, you did. Thanks to Senator Ernst's initiative and the proposed TRACS Act for accountability and transparency. Now, through this act, we can start finding out just how our tax dollars are ending up in the hands of our enemies and how they are being used. The fresh initiative introduced by Senator Joni Ernst, Republican from Iowa, and OpenTheBooks.com reveals that over the last 5 years, China and Russia have received an alarming $1.3 billion in U.S. tax dollars. The figure is likely to be higher, given that the federal agencies do not trace these funds to their ultimate destination. Senator Ernst, along with Congressman Mike Gallagher, also Republican from Iowa, have put forth the Tracking Receipts to Adversarial Countries for Knowledge of Spending, TRACS Act, representing an effort to increase accountability and transparency of U.S. taxpayer money going to these nations. This proposed legislation would necessitate the detailed tracking and public disclosure of each cent of government grant money paid to any entity within China and Russia. According to the findings, U.S. grants and contracts worth over $490 million were directed to Chinese organizations in the past half-decade and approximately $870 million to Russian entities. OpenTheBooks.com CEO and founder, Adam Andrzejewski, and forgive me if I botched the names, emphasized the significance of this step, saying that holding firms responsible to public report where and how they use their grant and contract awards can deputize private citizens and make them part of the solution. Radical transparency is revolutionizing U.S. public policy and is the information machine for democracy. Everyone has a stake in a more transparent, effective government. Investigations have revealed a variety of projects funded by U.S. tax dollars in China and Russia, including a $58.7 million contribution by the State Department, with a portion set aside for promoting gender equality through the exhibition of New Yorker magazine cartoons. The Department of Defense gave $51.6 million, which included a $6 million for tech support of military software, despite warnings from the Department of Defense Inspector General against the use of Chinese IT companies. We gave $4.7 million to a Russian health insurance company that faced U.S. sanctions in 2022. We gave $4.2 million from Health and Human Services, part of which was used by a state-run Russian lab to test the effects of treadmills on cats. You can't even make this stuff up. We gave $2 million to the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China for controversial experiments involving bat coronaviruses and transgenic mice. Here is one that really stings. We gave $1.6 million from the National School Lunch Program to Chinese agricultural exporter. These funds were originally intended to support American farmers under the CARES Act. Our farmers deserve every penny instead of China. The spending report also included detailed breakdowns of obligations made to both countries. This comprehensive examination of U.S. taxpayer dollars heading overseas is seen as a significant stride in creating a more transparent, effective government, and affirms every citizen's stake in fiscal responsibility. We must get involved, folks, and we must start paying attention to this stuff. If we do not hold our elected officials and our government responsible, they will continue getting away with more and more things. This is why we created this program, News You Can Act On, not just to inform you, but also to encourage you to become more engaged with what's happening in our country and learn how you can make a difference. Go to actforamerica.org and check all our campaigns at Act Now campaigns. We are tracking many bills on the federal and state level and have prepared Act Now campaigns for different issues where your voice and action can make a difference. Please take action and share it with your friends. When everyone does a little, together we can accomplish a lot.
You know, Brigitte, it begs the question, how does this happen? I mean, do you think it's just a matter of the fact that these politicians are too busy campaigning or, you know, shaking hands and kissing babies that they don't even read these bills that are being proposed? It's all up to the aides, which, as we well know, you know, most of these aides are from the liberal ideologies, you know, these universities. I mean, you know this world better than anybody does. You know, one of the phrases you said before we started filming, local citizens holding the line. I guess it really is up to us, folks, to pay attention to what's being proposed, because it begs the question, are the politicians even paying attention?
We need to make sure that the politicians pay attention. You know, they say squeaky wheel gets the oil. And like you said, Brent, most politicians, they have their chief of staff and then they have their staff. Their staff read the bill, not the congressman or senator.
Right.
Don't think your senator is sitting till 3 o'clock in the morning reading 1,200 pages of some bill he's going to vote on. Your senator or your congressman, your elected official depends on their staff. They depend on their staff to tell them, hey, we think this is a good bill. We read the bill. We come through it. Yeah, you should vote for it. You know, your constituents will like it, or your constituents will, you know, whatever, depending on what the constituents that they have heard from. This is why we tell people it's so important to call your elected officials and let them know where you stand. Do not discount your voice. And what happens with these big government agencies, our government has become Goliath. And all these departments, all these, whether it's a Department of Defense, the Department of Homeland Security, all these companies depend on their fiscal budget. So let's say this year we gave them $100 million. Next year at the fiscal year, they already have programs for $100 million. And then they create more programs to get more money. If they spend less than the $100 million, that means next year they're not going to get the $100 million, they're going to get $90 million. And so they go to ask for the money, even if they don't know what they're going to spend it on. They just want the money to spend it so they can spend it, so they can qualify for it the following years. And you have the private interest folks pushing and this government, oh, we need to give this grant to this, and we need to give this grant to this. You know, many companies that present grants to our government, to the many different departments trying to get these grants. And again, like you said, it's sometimes the staff who's inexperienced. They're looking over these grants, they're literally filling a quota, and that's how this money ends up in the hands of our enemies. So to think that our government, at a time when we are facing economic decline, economic collapse, not just decline, when we have our veterans sleeping on the sidewalks, we are sending $1.3 billion to China and Russia. Really, whatever happened to the Russia, our enemy, the Russia collusion, our enemy? Everybody is upset with Russia. How can we be giving grants to Russia? How can we be giving grants to a company that's developing military software against the United States? What do you think? They are getting this money to develop these programs because they love us, because of our blue eyes, because they like hanging around with us, they think we're nice people? They are using this money and these programs to develop programs that they're going to use against us. But thankfully, Brent, not all our elected officials are a sellout. There are some great elected officials, and especially those within the Freedom Caucus, that you can count on to be the first line of defense, truly representing their constituents, truly representing the American public, and asking and opening an investigation into why are we spending all this money? Why are you sending all this money? We want transparency. We want accountability. We want a detailed account of what this money was for and how it was spent. And thank God we have great Republican Congress people that are doing exactly that. And now is the time, because now we have a Republican-controlled House where actually your elected officials listen to you. And that's why I encourage people to go to actforamerica.org, check out our Act Now campaigns. When you go on the website, click on Act Now. It's on top of the banner. We have campaigns on the federal level as well as the state level, because we monitor bills coming down for a vote, so we can tell you about them, just like what we are telling you now about the Tracks Act that has just been introduced that we're going to get behind. And your elected officials need to hear your voice. That's how we're going to be able to make a difference together, collectively, putting the heat on our government.
And Brigitte, you've made it easy. I mean, I'm there yet again, actforamerica.org. I mean, what's happening on the national scene, what's happening even on the local scene, I've never seen anything like it. It just an incredible thing, folks. I mean, you really can toe the line together. We can do this by taking action, sign up for the free action alerts. I'm still amazed by what you said earlier. I mean, $51.6 million, 6 of which given to tech support military software that, despite the warnings, of the Department of Defense, was still
That's
given
right.
to there's no accountability. There's none. And,
Right.
I mean, even before of going on and filming, what they did this last weekend on a Saturday to come against Paxton
In
for
Texas. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's right. So with Paxton, Ken Paxton, he's been impeached by the Texas state legislatures and the House. And here's why. They want him out because Paxton is the first line of defense. He has come up against everything they wanted to propose in Texas. Now, remember, when we think of Texas, we're thinking red, white, and blue, okay? You cannot get any more patriotic than Texas.
Right.
But Texas is changing. And Texas is changing, one, because of all the lefties that moved in from California and all the liberal states. They didn't like the results of all their voting record and all what they supported in California, because California collapsed. So they decided, hey, look at Texas is thriving. We're going to move to Texas. They came to Texas and they started to vote the same lefty policies they voted for in California that destroyed their state. So Texas is changing. One, by the people who came to California to Texas from California. Two, from the refugee resettlement program. All these refugees that they brought in from foreign countries and resettled in Texas. And I'm not talking about the illegal immigrants who are coming through the Texas border from Mexico and South America.
Right.
I'm talking about refugee resettlements of people that they brought in from other countries and resettled in the United States. So you take all that, Texas is changing to purple. So you have few elected officials like Attorney General Ken Paxton, who is holding the line. So what do the Democrats and the rhinos do to try to impeach him? They basically vote on 1 o'clock in the afternoon or Saturday, Memorial Day weekend. We
Wow.
got notified that they are going to vote to impeach Paxton on Friday, the day before Memorial Day weekend. I said, okay, great. We'll prepare an action alert. We'll send it out next week. I didn't think they're going to do anything on Saturday, but the Democrats don't just let it go. They voted on Saturday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Memorial Day weekend, when no one was paying attention. Thankfully, one of our members in the state of Texas sent us an email and said, this is what's happening. Last week, we immediately, as soon as everybody came back to work, sent out an action alert to Texas, to all our members in the state of Texas, telling them to stand with Ken Paxton against the rhinos and against the leftists who want to get rid of him, so they can pass and change Texas and pass all their lefty laws. Because, right now in Dallas, all the government employees in the city of Dallas have to identify as he, she, it, whatever gender name, lest they be fired or face consequences. Who would have thought we're going to see this happening in Dallas? But that's where your voice as a citizen watching us right now is important. While you may feel helpless, what can I do as one person? Make sure you sign up to receive our emails and action alerts so we can notify you when there is something coming down where you can make your voice heard in your state, not just at the federal level, but also on the state level. You at the local level are the first line of defense. You may not be able to make a big impact as one, but when you send us a tip and let us know about, hey, this is what's happening at my state legislator, I just read about it in the news, or I just heard about it. When you come to us, we bring all our weight as a national organization with a massive reach, with the right tools that can reach hundreds of thousands of people with a click of a button. We have 300,000 members in the state of Texas. With one click of a button, we were able to send an action alert to them. So no matter where you're watching us right now, no matter what state you are watching us right now, if you are a patriotic Americans, if you felt so far, I do not know what to do, give me something to do. Now we're giving you something to do. One, go to actforamerica.org, sign up to receive our emails and action alert, so you can be on our email list when there is something coming down for a vote or an action alert that requires your attention in your state. You can take action. And also, so you can let us know when there is something happening in your state. Look, if you are in Maine, if you are in Oklahoma, if you are in Louisiana, if you are in Kentucky, if you are in Virginia, we do not know what's happening in these localities. We're not sitting 24 hours a day monitoring every single locality. We get tips from people just like you, letting us know what's happening in their community, so we can come stand behind you, lift you up, support you, empower you, mobilize the tens of thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of members in your state to stand up and be counted and be the first line of defense to make sure America is protected. America is always first. American people are always first before any other entity, before any foreign government, and before any foreign national who broke the law to come into our country. You deserve to be served by your elected official, our elected official, first before anybody else.
Well, you're absolutely right, Brigitte. I mean, the assumption is you elect representatives to look out for your best interest and the interest of your country. But now it's just a matter of getting the same funding as you said the previous year and getting reelected. That's the goal, just to get reelected, to go along with whatever. Of course, you know, these bills, pork belly politics, you know, things snuck into the bills, so deceptive, have nothing to do with the original purpose of the bill. Folks, there's no one coming for you. It's up to you. You may have representatives, but as you can see through these shows, News You Can Act On, it's up to you to, as Brigitte says, hold the line. And how do you hold the line? Well, you hold your representatives accountable by contacting them. How do you do that? Do you grab, in the old days, grab the phone, but no, with the click of a button, literally from your couch. You can make a difference with actforamerica.org. Such an incredible tool, such an incredible app to be in the know locally and nationally. The tide is changing. There is hope. You know, Brigitte, you also mentioned as well with YouTube lifting a ban recently. That's pretty amazing as well. But who else would know about this? Let's be the first to tell them.
Exactly. By the way, YouTube just lifted the ban. All of a sudden over the weekend, YouTube lifted the ban because, you know, before you couldn't even question the 2020 election or irregularities or fraud. You couldn't even talk about it. It was titled as false information. You couldn't even bring up anything related to the 2020 election. Now, all of a sudden, YouTube saw the light, and now they decided anybody can post anything requesting or talking about the election or talking about election fraud. You can discuss that. It's open to discussion. It's open to videos, which is great because it shows that when, again, squeaky wheel gets the oil, when enough people, look, Brent, they cannot ignore 80 million people who are questioning the election. 80 million people. You cannot ignore the fact that 80 million people lost faith in the American election system. Now, we are working on changing that. Act for America is working on changing that. And this is where I want to continue, follow on your thought, where you are saying that we are coming together. We are organizing Act for America. We realize nobody's coming to save us. If we're going to save ourselves, we have to work together and coordinate together and go to private donors and say, help us build programs that will mobilize the conservative community, Americans who want to put America first, who are sick and tired of seeing our money being squandered to foreign governments, whether Russia, China, Ukraine, all the countries that we give money to. The UN, by the way, the United Nations just today made Iran the vice president of the United Nations Human Rights Coalition.
Oh my gosh.
Vice President, Iran, the country with the worst record of basically killing their people, abusing their people. So this is what the United Nations did right now. And we are sending billions of our tax dollar to the United Nations, which also has the World Health Organization, every single year. We give the United Nations 26% of their annual budget, while they vote against us 97% of the time. 97% of the time. So explain to me why we, the American people, are sending our tax dollars over there. But like you said, we realize very quickly, we the people, unless we come together and develop programs where we can pool our money together, and thank God for private donors who stepped in and supported Act for America to develop these programs that now you can use, like our Act Now campaigns. We had major donors come in and say, okay, what is the left is doing? We want to counter the left. We want to counter those who want to transform America. And we invested the money with Act for America to build the tools, to make them available to you, patriotic Americans who love this country. So together we can take action to counter the left who are trying to destroy America. And right now, at least we are playing on the same playing field. We may not have the money that they have because they are funded by Silicon Valley, they are funded by Hollywood, they are funded by the media, by the source. They are even funded by foreign investors, foreign money that pours into the left. We're not. But what we have is our patriotism, our love of country, and our dedication to preserve America. And this is where I always say, when everyone does a little together, we accomplish a lot. And that's where we come together as Americans, signing up to Act for America to receive our emails and notifications about bills coming down for a vote or important actions we want you to take, whether against Bud Light or whether notify you with information. It doesn't cost you anything, zero, in order for you to sign up to get our emails. We have freemiums and premiums. You can be a freemium. You still can get our information for free, because we want to make sure every single person has access to this information to take action. But you can also be a premium supporter of our organization and have access to information and phone calls and invitations that is not available to anybody who just gets our email. So make sure you go to Act for America, sign up to get our emails and action alerts, stand with us, become a member. Stand with us as a member, and stand with us as a monthly patriotic member to support our efforts, so together we can make a difference for the country. And I'm proud to tell you, Brent, we are passing bills, we are securing the country, we are organizing people to put pressure on lefty organizations like YouTube, like other channels that we are working on right now. So to allow people to be able to discuss important issues that need to be debated so we can be a better country.
We've got to come together, and we have to act for America today. You can do that at actforamerica.org today.
You're talking about all the money we're giving to illegal criminal aliens, right, who are breaking the law to come into our country. Fancy hotels, 5-star hotels, free cell phones, Nintendo games. It's unbelievable. You can see smoke coming out of my ears. But you know what? This is exactly why, instead of giving a donation to the IRS as your taxes, make a tax-deductible donation. Help us fight for our country with your tax dollars and get a tax donation for it, tax-deductible donation for it. And you mentioned Zuckerbucks, Brent. I love to use the example of Zuckerbucks. We started after the 2020 election. We said, remember, Zuckerbucks gave over $400 million to local elections to impact the election of 2020, with that drop boxes, all that was funded by that money. So we started saying, okay, how can we stop that as we head into 2024? And I'm proud to tell you that in 2020, by 2022, we have helped pass 27 stop Zuckerbucks funding into private election, pouring into private election in 27 states. We actually passed 31 bills and resolution in 27 states. And we did that. And that's why in the 2022 election, this last one, midterm, you didn't hear anything about drop boxes. You didn't hear anything about Zuckerbucks money. You know why? Because people just like you, our viewers right now, signed up to get Act for America action alerts. So when we sent alerts about us introducing a bill in your state to stop Zuckerbucks and foreign money peddling in local elections, people like you took action. And because of the tens of thousands like you in your state, who are our members, who took action because we notified them that we introduced the bill in their state and we want them to call their elected official, that's how we were able to pass it. And I'm proud to tell you, Brent, that right now, we are working on 26 states, another 26 states to pass Zuckerbucks, to stop Zuckerbucks. So we want to make sure you are signed up to get our emails and action alerts. And we want to be able to reach you when this bill is introduced in your state. If you are watching us from a state that has not yet passed, we want to be able to notify you so you can call your elected officials, so you can email your elected officials, and also you can notify your friends, forward to them our email with all the pertinent details with the Act Now campaign so they can take action. And what I mean by our Act Now campaign, we just don't give you a phone number and say, oh, call your elected official. You can do that by going to the board, congressional scoreboard. But what we do is we actually prepare a full campaign to you, an email written to your elected official about that bill, written by us with all the details. All you have to do is sign your name on it and send it to your elected official. We give you their name, their emails, their phone number. We have social media posts already prepared for you that you can send to them with a click of a button and share it on your social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you use, and tag them so they cannot say we're not hearing from our constituents. We give you their phone number so you can call them with a script. You don't even have to think about what to say. I know a lot of people feel gumbobulated when it comes time to speak with their elected official. They think, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? I don't know what to say. We make it so easy for you. You literally could read the script off your computer screen as you're talking with them on the phone. So this is how easy we make it for you, my friends. We need everybody engaged and everybody involved. And Brent, I'm proud to tell you, the country is waking up. Everybody is being mobilized. We are so excited. I see great hope as we head into the 2024 election. The country is waking up, and you are starting to see companies and even our government realize we have gone too far. We are pushing the limit too far. And if you don't believe me, just look at Bud Light right now and look at the backtracking that Bud Light has done after the backlash they got on so many ways in their pocket as well as in their public relations image. The backlash that they got for getting a transgender Mulvaney as their representative and spokesperson.
The country is being mobilized. Act for America is a big part of that. Stand with those who are doing something. There's people who say, what just happened? There's people who watch things happen. There's people who make things happen. Make things happen today. Stand with Act for America at actforamerica.org. And yet another great news you can act on with Brigitte Gabriel. Thank you, Brigitte.
Thank you, Brent, and thank you all for being with us. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States.